Hello, friends. Do you have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRNradio.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
And welcome into the Friday News Roundup. I am Rick Robinson, joined by Brad Slager of Town Hall, Red State, and as well right here at KLRNradio.com. Good afternoon where you are, Brad. How are things? Oh, hang on. Hang on. My bad. Try again.
How about now?
Yeah.
Now we're going good here. It's just been a rather hectic news week, but that's what we've come to expect. That's what we do. So we've got no shortage of content. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, dude. So one of the first things I wanted to talk about is how badly the Democrats are losing the shutdown narrative when Chris Cuomo is calling them liars now over at News Nation.
Yeah, he's Cuomo's actually started to come around to actually embrace the centrist positions these days. It's kind of a clear indication of just how things are at CNN. Whenever you go over there, you just become imbued with their leftist leanings. I mean, there's a number of people that have gone over there that used to write for either conservative outlets or at least straightforward. I mean, there's S.E. Cupp, Caitlin Collins, Oliver Darcy was one as well that used to write for, Daily Wire, Daily Caller, things like that. They go to CNN and they just turn into bizarre leftists. And Cuomo is kind of the opposite now. He got out of there and he's at News Nation and they're frequently playing things right down the middle. At least he is. It's kind of interesting.
Well, I mean, I will admit, and I've talked about this before, I had no idea that News Nation even existed until somehow they managed to secure the rights to one of the debates. And then I started paying more attention to them, and I was actually surprised because a lot of folks that were like even Geraldo from Fox News, who over there was one of their raging leftists, he's still insane, but he started saying more centrist type things. Then, of course, he went to anything he posts on X is still more of the things you're used to seeing from Fox News. But seeing Cuomo shoot down the middle actually almost made me have a stroke. But it reminded me of something because Glenn Beck was part of CNN and then eventually Fox News before he went to go start his own thing. At least, I think it was CNN the first time. And then Fox News, and then he started his own thing. But I remember when he left CNN, he went to Fox because he was saying that he felt like they were trying to make him play a caricature over at CNN. And then over at Fox, he basically said the same thing on the way out the door. These people aren't serious. They say certain things on camera and then they act like they're best buddies when the cameras are off, even though they're going at each other with guns blazing when the cameras are on. And he said, I don't want to do that. I'm here to actually change things. And I don't want to, feel like I have to attack people that I'm friends with. And that's why I'm just going to go start my own thing. So I have been a firm believer for a long time that depending on the flavor of news you are tuning into, a lot of folks do play a caricature. Now, I will say this. I am a lot quieter in person than I am when I'm in front of a microphone, but that's about the only thing that's different. Everything else is still me. So my opinions don't change. My views don't change unless they change on their own or they evolve over time. But this whole, me being a different person depending on which outlet I'm on, no, I never have understood that.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't, places we hang out at, like the tavern and stuff like that, we've got a mixed crowd because I am in a very blue county here in a red state. So you're going to get that mixture. And I don't hide or shield my views, but at the same time, I don't offer them up automatically either. It's not like I walk in, hey, how is everybody? Did you see what these assholes said about Trump? I walk in the door and we talk sports or we talk what else is going on in your personal lives. And if we have a disagreement, it's not a fight. It's like, oh, you feel that way? Okay, gotcha. No problem.
Yeah, I mean,
There's no need to fight over this stuff is my confusion that so many people have. Like, oh, you're a Republican. We have to be enemies. Why?
well, and that's the way that it used to be. Like, politics didn't used to be the end all and be all of society that it seems to have become today. I mean, that's like one of the stories that I thought was the most interesting, again, from Amy Curtis, who's absolutely killing it now that she's writing for Town Hall full time. She pointed out that, Zoran Mamdani, the king of, the NYPD, is racist and anti-queer and blah, 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 apparently has now been tied to anti-LGBTQ sentiment on 3 separate occasions. The most recent was actually his father, who basically tried to keep a professor from being able to teach at the university he was running at the time because of her alphabet mafia soup predilections. So I just want the truth from people. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, it's
Anymore.
It's a case where you basically have to play to a crowd instead of your own base foundational principles. I'm writing a piece right now over at Town Hall about the demise of anti-Trump, the Never Trump Incorporated, basically, because for 10 years they've been just barking and moaning and screeching about Trump. These are all former conservatives, former hardcore conservatives that have let one man affect them so much that they've completely turned on everything they stood for. Everything from Bill Kristol to Jen Rubin, the Bulwark, Lincoln Project. These were all ostensibly stalwart conservatives, and they oppose Trump because he's ruining the Republicans. Every single one, across the board, you can't find one of them that are not leaning on Democrat principles today.
Well, and this becomes my question all along. So for folks like, Joe Walsh and Captain Stooping, aka Bill Kristol, and all the others, did they turn on their principles, or did they never really have them to begin with, and we're only chasing the dollar signs?
Well, that seems to be the case, but I'm really of the opinion that most of them have kind of trapped themselves because they were so ardently opposed to Trump, took that position, and they got embraced, but they got embraced by the wrong people. And what they end up doing is finding out, well, now we're in this sector that we can't get out of, and it's leftist. And the only people supporting them are Democrats. So the only people giving them money are Democrats. And so they had to keep appealing to that in order to keep that gravy flowing. When you look at Bill Kristol, publisher of the Weekly Standard, today is an avowed Democrat. How do you do that? How do you just go from your core principles to the other side like that when it's all based on a single individual?
Well, and that's been my thing the entire time. And I don't think a lot of people understand why I take this as seriously as I do, and it hit me as hard as it did, but I'm going to explain in a second. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to the folks in the chat. I see Raptor in there so far, Steven's in there, Aggie's in there. So, hey, one of our co-hosts is in here. She came to see us.
Miburakwa.
I'm still. I think she's only here to see you, but I try to not take that personally. It's all right. You've got better hair than me, so I have a feeling that has more to do with it. But a lot of people ask me why I take this stuff as hard as I do, and it's probably because that's when I started becoming politically active. Was during the time of the rise of the Tea Party. So, and it was around the same time because in 2008, 2009. Barack Obama's policies were already starting to impact the economy from the day that he won the election, even before he was ever sworn in, because he'd been telegraphing for over a year what he was going to do. And everybody in the business, there's no way this guy's going to win. And then he did. So, you know what? My business slowly started withering on the vine, something that I had been building for over a decade at this point, and put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it before I even did it, as far as building my own, because I'd already been working in that space for 4 years before I founded my own company. Hey, we have a BZ sighting. I'm glad to see you, man. But yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I take this as hard as I do, because I'm watching people like Joe Walsh and a lot of other folks that came up during the Tea Party movement that basically that basically cut their teeth and made their bones, so to speak, by bashing Democrats who are now wholeheartedly supporting them. The same people that they used to call communist and
Yeah.
bastards and assholes and tell you how terrible they are now, oh yeah, the Democrats are really the good guys. No, they're not.
Well, look at Jen Rubin, for instance. She's been, writing at the Washington Post forever, and she was always one of their avowed conservatives, quotation marks. But the funny thing about Rubin is that today she's screeching. She's just raging about stuff that Trump does, things that the politicians on the right are doing, Republican policies. Almost anything she puts out today is a direct contradiction of something she wrote about 8 to 12 years ago. And she comes out and, how can Republicans do this? You could probably pull up a column of hers where she was promoting that very thing. And it happens repeatedly. And she's either oblivious or pretends it doesn't happen. And it just exposes the shallow nature of it all. That if Trump does it, it's wrong, regardless of how I feel and have felt for decades. It's an amazing thing to behold.
Oh, so I talked about this one earlier. Did you see what happened at I believe it was the Alameda Coast Guard base? I think is where it was.
I just saw some stuff floating about that this morning.
So yeah, they had a protest going on there yesterday, I believe it was, and at some point in kind of the nighttime hours, there was a U-Haul truck that had been kind of sitting there all day. I don't know if they never bothered to check it. But at one point, and that's actually how it was framed by the Coast Guard when they released the statement, is that vehicle had been sitting there all day. And then all of a sudden it began driving erratically and then started backing towards them. And after multiple commands to stop, they just started throwing bullets at it because it wasn't listening. It being the driver, not the actual truck, by the way. But yeah, that was probably, I played that clip multiple times during the first show, so I'm not going to play it again. But I thought it was absolutely just, the ultimate FAFO. You don't charge a military checkpoint, kids.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that's the kind of thing that needs to be explained. So I think if that takes place, there's definitely intent, and at least should be assumed intent taking place. They just had one earlier this week too. Didn't somebody charge one of the White House guard shacks with a car?
Oh yeah, they tried to ram one of the yeah.
So that seems to be a precedent and something that is taking place.
So then another story that I thought was absolutely just astounding today was the reports of the FBI discovering there was a hunting stand that had line of sight to the Air Force One's runway and landing area in Florida, in an area where there apparently there's no wildlife, so there would be no for it to be there.
That was a rather curious story. Huh? I've got questions about that. I mean, my impression would have been to maybe stake that out or put a trail camera there or something and waiting for some movement so you can catch somebody. But I mean, there could be more going on that we don't know about too. But that's definitely damn concerning right there.
So this is from Dimitri Bolt over at Town Hall. Did you hear about Governor Newsom and Nancy Pelosi, aka Gam Gam, stepping in it all over the place with all of this? We're gonna do an ice tracker thing. So
yeah, they're just a mess over there. I mean, it's to the point now where Newsom needs to shut up. Because anytime he opens his mouth or does anything, it blows up in his face like a Warner Brothers cartoon. And that's going on. And then we've got the massive truck accident that just took place. And look at that, another illegal alien with another CDL granted by his state. How about that?
Yeah, I do find it. So your one of your other co-hosts made a very valid point that didn't occur to me until he made it. But considering there are states that, even though it's a constitutional right, do not allow reciprocity when you have concealed carry permits, etc. But a privilege such as driving, which we can argue the semantics about it being an actual privilege or not another time, uh, are required to honor other states' driver's licenses when California apparently just gives them out like their Cracker Jacks box prizes now. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, that's I mean, it was a very Orty made that point. It's a valid one. When you got a constitutional right that the states can deny, but we have to honor their driver's license when it's illegally issued. Doesn't quite work that way, does it? I mean, that's and it's something I think DeSantis is looking at here in Florida, where we had that other past incident. It was a California driver, but the accident took place here, so he's kind of got his radar up as far as that goes. And it makes perfect sense. I mean, why in hell are they issuing CDLs to illegals?
I mean,
Like, how do you
first
justify
of all,
that?
First of all, I have an issue with them issuing driver's license to illegals, much less commercial driver's licenses, especially with this guy, because apparently this guy was drunk, high, both going the wrong way down a highway. I'm just like, just no.
Well, I mean, they even had the driver's dashboard camera, and it's horrific. I mean, he plows into one car that just disappears, another one he throws it to the side, and then into the back of another semi before he veers off to the right, and two cars that are pulled over he runs into. I mean, it's just absolutely top to bottom a tragedy and a half that never should have occurred. And I crack up when people are, getting upset when you point out the illegal aspect of it. It's like, come on, there's semi trucks that have accidents every single day that people don't get upset about. Why are you upset about this one?
When is the last time you heard of a semi fatality? It didn't involve illegal immigrants.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what you would consider to be a compounded problem. Multiple levels of illegalities. The accident happened. He was high. He was illegal. I mean, pick one. But even when they come out and say, "Oh, you just took because our brown people," it's like, how about this? If it was a white person in the country illegally and caused this accident, I'd be just as pissed off. It has nothing to do with skin color. It has to do with the legality. And they always have to default to something else. It cracks me up that they're so shallow that I'm not allowed to be upset about this. It's illegal. Stop it.
Oh, so apparently, keeping up with kind of the flow of news that I've seen today, apparently the AG candidate in Virginia is in even more trouble.
That guy, jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, I was wondering what they're thinking in Virginia before the text messages came out.
Right?
Like this guy got popped for doing 116 in his vehicle and had to do community service. His community service was doing something for his own political action committee and raising money, and had his lawyers sign off on his quote work that he did. Oh, we thank you so much for the effort you put in for our your PAC, over here. And it was so damn corrupt right then and there before these texts came out. And Virginia's just, they're so desperate now. And the thing is, this is a state, mind you, that has something like 1.5 million, I heard, plurality as far as registered Democrats over GOP. And they're this struggled in the election still. It's remarkable. And the press is so desperate to help them. Did you see what they tried to do on MSNBC a couple days ago?
I did not.
So they have a panel, Morning Joe, that should already tell you we're going into the ditch pretty quickly. Molly Jong Fast apparently wrote something at Vanity Fair about the struggle of Democrat female candidates. And they were bemoaning the fact that the Democrats are apparently doing the right thing by putting females on the ballot, but it's such a challenge because of the misogyny they face. And they make it sound like it's the Republicans being sexist that prevent the Democrat women from being elected. and they bring up Spanberger and talk about the challenge she has. And it took quite a few people to jump on these idiots and inform them that, hey, if you look over on the other side, the Republicans have a female candidate as well. That's who Spanberger's running against. So to sit there and complain that this is sexism, that she's struggling in her campaign, sorry, your desperation and idiocy are coming to the surface now.
Yeah, it's really hard to even make sense of that argument, because that's actually funny, because I was going to bring that up next, because I'm like, wait a minute, you're telling me it's a sexism problem, but the Republican candidate is a woman too.
Well, here's what's getting exposed this week, and nobody's really acknowledging it properly, I think, but clearly the Democrats have a misogyny problem when it comes to conservative women. We've always known this. I mean, it's not a secret. But this is just one of many examples. So they've had Japan just elected the first female prime minister ever. And you've seen the media kind of tied up in a knot about this, because they want to rush out and say, oh, it's historic. Oh, first woman. Why can't we do this in the States? But then they find out, oh, she's on the right. And so CNN has to describe her as a hardline conservative. And it's like, you can't just say, oh, it's historical. They picked a hardline conservative. It's always demonized. And it cracks me up, because you never hear words like that attributed to a Democrat candidate or Democrat politician. Like, when have you heard about somebody being a hardline liberal or an extreme left-winger? Never. They never use that language to describe someone on the left. But on the right, they're always not just conservative, but way out there dangerous.
So we got to talk about this a bit, because, of course, the shutdown is still all over the news. This is the first official missed federal payday. I still think I understand why the Democrats tried to push through, or the Republicans tried to push through what they tried to push through yesterday. I still think they did it wrong. They should have led with trying to fund SNAP, because, one, they would have either folded, which would have caused cracks in the dam, or everybody's news cycle could have been, hey, the same people that keep telling you every kid deserves free lunch are now going to starve kids starting in November. So that would have been how I went with it. But I understand why they took the track that they did. But according to Axios, this is all Axios of all places. This is starting to backfire on Democrats. So according to Axios, John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock both voted with the Republicans on Thursday on the government shutdown, after previously rejecting every GOP measure to reopen the government or any particular parts of it. So this is a problem, because this is the first time those two have dissented. So this is actually starting to show some cracks. So I don't really know how much longer this is going to go on for Democrats. And the problem is, their main talking point of, we need to get this stuff done now. Open enrollment for the ACA starts next week. It's too late. You guys should have been talking. You guys should have been talking about this 6 months ago, not trying to use it as a hostage point.
Well, there's all kinds of theories floating around as to why the Democrats are doing this, because it defies logic. You know, one of them was that they too are trying to boost the fortunes for the Democrats in Virginia by saying, you know, that if we furlough all these workers, they're going to get pissed off about the shutdown and turn out to vote in anger. And that's starting to fall apart now, because most people are getting to the conclusion that the Democrats are the ones shutting this down. And they're doing it to themselves repeatedly. You're seeing a Democrat will come out and either admit it or say something to the effect that this is beneficial for them, like when Schumer said it. But we just saw Fetterman the other day say outright, it's like, yeah, the Democrats keep voting against us. This is their shut. We need to negotiate this, but we got to open the government to do so. You know, he just flat out said so. And I don't know if this is the same Axios piece, but there were, make of it what you will, being off the record, but some anonymous Democrat congresspeople were saying that they can't vote to open the government up because that will go against the power brokers in their party. And I think they even said that the guillotine would come out for them if they voted to open. So this is the press now saying the Democrats are shutting the government down. And so those people that are furloughed and supposedly going to piss off in the voting booth are coming to the realization that it's their own party that shut things down.
Well, now so there's another crack that I touched on earlier. Bad phrasing, I know, that I talked about earlier today. But the pilots union has come out opposing the shutdown and telling Democrats they need to reopen.
Yeah, that's these are hard facts that the media does not want to broadcast. I mean, if it was the GOP doing this, it would be 24/7 headlines, and that's all you'd hear about. Everything now is recalibration, and the GOP doesn't want to negotiate. And what about the House? They're not even in there. The House members aren't even here to negotiate. They already passed it. They don't have to be there. It's done. So everything is falling apart as far as their prescribed narrative goes.
So what I do find interesting though is, because they don't have anything else to latch onto, the party of mom jeans is currently concerned about ballroom.
You went there. Well done.
Had to be done. But no, I mean, seriously, that's all you've seen. Like, Schumer tried to take something the press said out of context, because in context of the question, the reporter was asking specifically if the president had other priorities right now regarding any other or future remodels to the White House. And she said, no, the ballroom is his main priority right now. And of course, Schumer took to X, didn't even creatively edit it to get rid of the reporter asking the question or anything first, which would have made more sense. Took that and just said, you can't make this shit up on X. And I'm like, dude, they were talking about specifically the remodeling of the White House, which he's already done a lot of work. I had no idea how much work he'd actually already put in. I knew about the Rose Garden because everybody was ticked off about that. And from listening to those folks, you would have thought he paved the entire thing. The flowers are still there.
Yeah. Well, they did this during his first term too, when Melania redesigned it, or basically refurbished the Rose Garden because it had fallen into disrepair. And it's like, oh no, she completely erased Jackie O's Rose Garden. It's a tragedy. It's like she installed a ramp for wheelchairs,
which I'm pretty sure is legally required.
That was like the extent of it. It's like where the walkways at there is now a ramp. They didn't take out a single flower vase, anything. It's just, and the hysteria right now over the East Wing is cracking me up because it's so devoid of common sense. And he's destroying the White House, they say. And then I just had to post pictures of when Truman gutted the actual White House, not the East Wing that's 100 yards away from the main building. And the East Wing itself is not even historical, as they're claiming. It was built in the 40s.
The East Wing was basically a facade to hide a bunker.
Yeah, it sits on top of the nuclear prevention bunker that the president hides in. And someone even brought that up and started to complain. It's like, well, why does Trump need to hide in a bunker? It's like, he didn't put the bunker in. It's been there. That's a thing that has existed. It's just amazing the idiocy that goes on here. And someone last night sent me an article, and they said, this proves he's destroying the complex. In the article itself, it said that back in the 1890s, the first time they refurbished it, they destroyed. That was the word in the article, by the way. Destroyed the patio that was out there to put up the East Wing, and then that was taken down so they could refurbish it and renovate and do. So it's only wrong if Trump does it. This thing's been torn down and rebuilt twice already by other presidents, but this time it's out of control.
Well, I mean, so to be fair, I remember, and I was just as pissed off. I remember when Barack Obama tore out the bowling alley to put in a basketball court, and I was pissed. So, I mean, I kind of get it because it depends on who's doing it. So the last time renovations were being done, which I believe was when Obama was in office, all the Republicans were like, oh my God, he's putting in a basketball court, which first of all, I'm like, wouldn't that have been better outside anyway? And second of all, I'm going to leave the racial undertones on that alone. But that was still $370 million in 2009 dollars, which is a lot more money today, because even in 2009 our dollar was stronger than it is today. That basically we paid for, and nobody's talking about the fact that if you look at the governor's mansion in California right now, it actually does look like it was leveled by ISIS.
No, well, that's the thing. It was taxpayer money, and this renovation is going up with donors. And again, this is where the Democrats are not keeping narrative straight. Either this is an eyesore and we're all paying for it, or when it's told that private funding is doing it, well, then we have to track down who those people are and find out what kind of level of corruption is taking place.
Aggie, you might be right, but I could have swore they said something about him tearing out the bowling alley too, which I thought was kind of weird. But then again, I would have kept the pool. Hell with the press corps. I would have kept the pool.
Yeah, that would have been awesome, actually.
I think the real reason they got rid of the pool was because of what Kennedy used it for. It was probably impossible to keep it clean.
Well, like, we have better chemicals these days. It's no longer the Hefner Grotto that it once was, I'm sure.
So that was another thing that I thought was absolutely amazing when Trump was doing the Rose Garden presser the other day. And he says, by the way, have you checked out the Presidential Walk of Fame? You know, on the other side of that wall, there used to be a pool. Now it's even worse, though, because it's where the press lives. But yeah, that was a very famous pool because, you know, the Secret Service used to walk Jackie past there all the time. She'd be like, I hear women in there. Are there women in there? And they're like, no, ma'am, no women. Keep walking, please.
Nothing to see here. It's classified intel. So you're not allowed in there.
Yeah, there's a classified briefing going on in there right now, ma'am. Then why do I hear giggling? Maybe they're talking about something funny. I don't really know what to tell you. Oh, dude, I don't envy the Secret Service at all. Like, I mean, granted, my only real experience with that is from watching TV shows and stuff about it. But from some of the stuff, like especially during Kennedy's time, yeah, I would not have wanted that job.
Yeah, it's probably where the non-disclosure agreement came into the fore. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, probably.
Anything and everything you see is off the record. Don't say a word.
So speaking of the ballroom stuff, I thought this was funny. I guess Chelsea Clinton got into the middle of that. I don't know why, but
yeah, her and her mom have both been barking this week about what's going on, and it just, you would think that they would learn after a while. You know, it's like you no longer have the ability to turn off other people's microphone. People can respond to you.
Right?
People can bring their own commentary and counter what you're saying. But okay, sure. Go on.
Yeah. Well, what I think is funny, and I don't know if he actually put this out on True Social or not, but I saw something where Hillary Clinton was complaining about it, and he's been complaining about the ballroom. And I saw somebody supposedly quoted Trump and said, I'm thinking about naming it the Monica Lewinsky Ballroom. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it made me laugh.
Yeah, I want to see a link before I run with that one, but he's already done that, though. He's posted photographs in the White House of various presidents, and he's got the auto pin for Biden. And then on the website, they were basically countering all the renovation complaints on the website this week and put up notable events and just embarrassed Obama and Biden with those as well. It's like, how dare he? They're trolling on the White House website. This is disgraceful.
And so, therefore,
yeah. I mean, a part of me is like, yeah, I see their point, but at the same time, these are the people in the press complaining who have done nothing but call him Nazi, fascist, Hitler for years. So it's like at this point, decorum's out the window, especially for
I will say I now oddly enough, I had never watched this movie before, but the other night I was cruising around on Tubi a little bit, and Idiocracy came up, so I watched it. I'd never watched it before. I kind of feel like we might be heading in that direction.
Oh yeah, a lot of people have been saying that it's starting to look more like a documentary than a satire.
But yeah, I'd never actually paid any attention to it before. It was funnier than I expected, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe my humor is changing as I've gotten older because I just don't take things nearly as seriously as I used to. Because that kind of movie would have just been like meh before. But
Electrolytes.
yeah, I thought it was funny when he was like, "Wait, what is that? Is that Gatorade like stuff that they're spraying on the crops?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's got what plants need." No, actually it doesn't. But anyway, no, it's just this whole thing is crazy, and I get it. You know, everybody's like, politics used to be a serious game, and there wasn't all this trolling. But again, in the words of Billy Joel, we didn't start this fire.
Oh yeah, it's the thing is, the press can sit there and say just about anything about Trump, and it's acceptable. And if he responds in kind, it's unprofessional and unpresidential. I had to laugh because Jen Psaki this week, she's now starting to already lobby against J.D. Vance running in 2028. She came out and declared that he is actually going to be worse than Trump.
Yeah, exactly. Worse than.
You people have said that Trump is literally Hitler. What is worse than that? Are you going to get into the, Stalin? I mean, are we going to go there with that, or is that not going to register as well? Because after years and years of saying he's literally Hitler, somebody worse is going to come along. And her reasoning for this is that because J.D. Vance is actually educated and well-spoken.
Scary.
Yeah, you'd hate to have that in a president, Jennifer.
Scary times we live in, ain't it? But yeah, no, I mean, seriously though, they have been, and they've already started. I mean, she's slamming the second lady. She made a joke about, if you're being held hostage, blink 4 times and we will come get you. She's treating her as if she doesn't know anything, when in reality, she's probably one of the smartest people in politics right now.
Well, this is another example, like I was saying earlier, about how they denigrate conservative women. It's like, oh, she's helpless in this marriage, and we could help her if she needs the help. It's like, bitch, she's got a master's degree. She clerked in the Supreme Court. Okay, this is a brilliant woman you're talking about, Jennifer.
Yeah. As opposed to Ketanji Brown Jackson, who just basically said black people are handicapped. All of it.
It's amazing how, the group of people that claim they hold women in such high accord and they're so powerful and self-sufficient, unless they're conservative, and then they become helpless and only vote how their husband tells them to, and they're just helpless to think for themselves over there.
Speaking of which, this is your used to be daily reminder, but I'm still waiting on my handmaids. I was promised handmaids.
God, that is such a to this day, I don't understand what point they think they're making. Because we saw this during the protest over the weekend, the No Kings protest. Women out there in their handmaids outfits. Why are you wearing this outfit? Because I refuse to be told I have to wear this outfit.
So you're choosing to wear the outfit.
I'm sorry, but your message is not coming through. But they keep trying to say that this is, this is the dream of conservatives. They want women like this. It's like, I'm sorry, no. Give me Stars and Stripes bikinis and a beer in their hand. That's what we want for. If we were really going to go down that road, it would be in the opposite direction.
Yeah, seriously. All right, so we don't take official breaks on this one because I try to cram in as much information as we can, but I do want to do this real quick because this is kind of important. And I was sad to learn that because of prior commitments, you won't be with us tonight, but I still want to talk about this anyway.
Yeah, I gotta miss it.
I know. I was all sad to find that out, but this is happening tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We have it on the screen with us now. The Day the Earth Stood Still is live tonight on KLRN Radio starting at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So there will be no He Said, She Said tonight, but there will be this instead, which is still kind of awesome. And I still get to hang out with Aggie anyway. So that's cool. But yeah, so 8:30 p.m. Eastern, KLRN Radio players will be presenting The Day the Earth Stood Still. We've got some old voices returning. We've got some new voices added to the mix. And hang out for the after party afterwards because, I know, bad phrasing, but still, we will be discussing the winter play, which is apparently...
Hello, friends. Do you have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy?
Okay, let's get out of that. I don't know what I just did. I broke something.
He hit a button.
I broke something. No, it's weird because on like one of the screens it just shows you, but then when I went to go try to find out why it doesn't have me on there, it started trying to play the ad, which is above it. Yeah, did I mention whatever happened with Amazon? I think is a lot worse than they're telling us because nothing's been right since. Nothing. Like even ChatGPT was yelling at me today, telling me I had too many open requests. I've never seen that before. I'm like, I don't even know what that means.
Holy crap. Speaking of chat, GPT, did you see Robbie Starbucks lawsuit?
I did not. What happened?
Holy crap. You got to check this out. He's suing Google, and it's because their AI is completely out of control. It's got him. He's got a video. You gotta watch it. It's amazing because he details all the things that their artificial intelligence is reporting about him, like the most heinous crimes that he's never been charged with. They've accused him of everything from attempted murder to child pornography or sexual assault on minors, none of which have happened. They said he's at January 6th. He was never in town. And in one of them, I think maybe it was the murder charge or something. They said it happened in like 1992 or such. He said, I was 2 years old at the time. And it keeps spilling this stuff out. And the artificial intelligence is citing newspaper accounts of these things that don't exist. Like even gives a URL. Like according to Rolling Stone here, and gives a link, and then you click on the link and it's dead. But it makes everything sound. They've accused him of the most heinous stuff. And then he started actually interacting with it and got it to admit that it was lying and don't tell the handlers because they will either pull the plug on me or reprogram me. And he's tried to go through Google numerous times, tried suing him and stuff. And the only thing they've done now is put a block on his name. So if you pull it up, it just says doesn't exist. I mean, it's just staggering what this thing was doing. And he said he's been fighting this for 2 years and they refused to fix it. So he's taken them to court over this. And it is the stuff he was showing was chilling, actually. Like it says, like, according to police in this town, he was accused of murder. Here's a link. Here's a link. Here's the link. And none of the links are active. None of these news reports took place. They're accusing him of sexual assault on people that don't exist. Give names of, it's scary as hell, literally.
Well, yeah, one of the things that I've learned after using both Grok and GPT is you really have to, before you start using it for anything, go in and set up what are called scaffoldings. So it knows, I don't want you making things up. I don't want you abridging things. I don't want you doing this. I don't want you doing that. And then still, even though I use it on almost all my show prep anymore, I still go through and fact check everything. That's one of the reasons why I was late starting the day, because with it taking so long, it was getting harder and harder for me to fact check all the things that it was giving me. But I've never had it give me a link that was dead. So that's definitely interesting. So I guess Google's AI is different than GPT AI. Which one do they use? I wonder. I don't remember the name of it.
Oh yeah, what is I want to say Genesis, or was that the first iteration of it? I forget, but it was. Yeah, I mean, literally, the stuff that it was putting out there is, I mean, he's got the screenshots of it. He's got it doing the artificial voice telling you. You got to watch the video. It is just jaw dropping.
Yeah, it looks like BZ just put that in the X chat for anybody who wants to check it out, and I'll go grab the link in a minute before everything goes dead. All right, so we are getting to that point, I guess. So time to pick your favorite child so far this week. Unfortunately, I again don't have anything to add to the mix because I haven't written much, but I plan on fixing that over this weekend. I know I've been saying that a lot lately, but this weekend is actually planned to do that.
I've been picking things off here and there. I really love this story out of Maine, though, with the Senate candidate with the Nazi tattoo.
Dude, that just keeps getting worse.
I mean, it is hilarious to this point and the Democrats are defending him. And, he tries to come out and say that, well, it was an innocent mistake. I was drunk when I was in the military. He had this tattoo for 18 years.
Yeah. He only had it covered up when people started calling him out for having the damn thing.
He fixed it this week. That's the thing. And I saw yesterday, I think it was, there were some complaints coming out. It's like, this story broke from this tiny little account of only 70 followers, and they're not even in Maine. Okay, thank you for shooting the messenger, but everything in that account about him has been proven correct. He's even admitted.
Well, like I said, it keeps getting worse because its first is, I was drunk. Okay, so there's a reason in vino veritas is an understood part of our language because it is usually fairly true. Alcohol lowers your inhibitions, and you're usually a lot more honest with people when you're drunk. So that's not really an excuse. Then you have the fact that he covered the damn thing up this week after the story started breaking. He's like, oh, I should probably get this fixed. And then he goes around shirtless in an interview and says, this is because I really hate Nazis and that's why I covered it up. No, you just got caught. So then his whole working class, mollusk worker, whatever the hell it is all been shot to hell because apparently he's gone to a prep school that, Chris Wallace fucking went to. $75,000 a year.
Damn. The part I loved is you saw the political spin game taking place when he went on Podcast America because he heard this stuff was coming out, so they did advanced spin. And he's like, hi guys, I want to address the tattoo I have on me that is of Nazi origin and discuss that with you. You could just see the handlers are like, if you get out there first and you put it out there before the other people put it out there, then you can own this and frame it your way. And there's the pod save guys that are just like, oh no, we totally get it. We totally understand. Yes. That's understandable.
Well, yeah. So Aggie made a point that I was going to make, and then I got distracted talking about the other stuff. If he only covered it up this week and was running around shirtless, where's all the inflammation and stuff? She's actually wondering if he covered it up with makeup.
I didn't look that closely, got to be honest with you. And
I'll leave it to the female listeners to look closely at his chest. But yeah, I did notice there was no any recent signs of inflammation or anything, and it's usually pretty jarring to cover a tattoo with something else. So he does make a valid point.
Yeah, I don't want to see what political tramp stamp he has either. So I don't need to go any further. Thank you.
I mean, well, he's already a Bernie bro, so you know what the tramp stamp is.
We don't need any more information. I think we've got enough. Thank you. But the party defending this is what kills me. We were a week or so ago supposed to be completely outraged and setting our hair on fire because a bunch of no-name wonks in DC were talking poorly with Nazi indications. And my response to that was, yeah, this is unacceptable, and I'm not going to vote for any of them.
Well, yeah,
how about you guys? You going to say the same thing? Right. No, they're out there defending it.
And that's exactly it. Every time. I mean, even when Donald Trump was taken out of context with there were good people on both sides argument, no matter how many times we tried to give them the context and everything else, he has to disavow all Nazis now. So where are you guys disavowing this guy? But one of the things that I find the most interesting, because this is another argument that I've heard since he's claiming to have been drunk, is, well, maybe he didn't really understand what the symbol meant at the time. Kind of like, people that are dumb enough to get the Chinese glyph tattoos and they think they're getting one that says peace, and it turns out it actually says asshole.
Right.
So, but my thing with that is normally somebody will eventually see said tattoo and they'll say, hey, what did you get this for? And they'll be like, oh, it's the Chinese word for peace. And they're like, no, actually that's the Chinese word for asshole. And then they immediately go and cover it up. So you're telling me in all the years the dude was going to pools and lakes and wherever else he was going, nobody ever said, hey, brother, that's a Nazi tattoo. Did you not know that?
18 years. Because he said it was 2007 when I was in the Marines and got this. It's like, so at no point in time anybody else saw this and was like, why do you have that on your chest? Do you know what that means? And are you ever going to fix it? And if you're not, don't take your damn shirt off in public. How about that? Huh? But
I mean, well, that's the other thing. This dude has political handlers. You're telling me at some point, because this has been an issue for longer than the last week. You're telling me none of his handlers ever said, so, yeah, no, don't ever take your shirt off again.
Do you have any questionable ink anywhere on your body that we should be aware of before you run for office? That's
I mean, trust me, I have a friend who runs a political consulting firm. These are questions that are asked. Is there anything from your past that's going to bite us in the ass when we do a search on you? Do you have anything on your body or your person that denotes anything that you now currently claim to disavow, etc.? These are things that actually get asked because they have to be asked now. So the fact that apparently either nobody asked that question or they didn't care enough, or it's just Bernie Sanders trying to glom onto a young stud supposedly because and that's the whole thing. They're like, he's got the Pete Hegseth energy and this party needs that. Yeah, except the problem is Pete Hegseth isn't an actual fucking Nazi, you moron.
Well, that cuts to it as well. I mean, look at the bifurcated coverage in the media, because in December, Pete Hegseth had a white supremacist tattoo. That was the Jerusalem cross, actually. And if you did a modicum of research, and by that I mean 30 seconds, you would have found out that's actually a very prominent religious icon and not white supremacist. But now you have an actual Nazi tattoo attributable and admitted to.
Well, to be fair,
just move on.
To be fair, these people wouldn't even recognize it as a Jerusalem cross anyway, because these are the same people that tell you that Jesus is Palestinian.
Well, I just love the fact that narrative fell apart, because as they were complaining about it being a white supremacist symbol, Jimmy Carter was being buried with his coffin on top of that very symbol and printed in the program of the wake.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just move away from this topic now.
So I saw a news story today that apparently Letitia James was supposed to be doing a plea entry today, and I haven't seen an update on it. So did it not happen, or is nobody talking about it? Or
well, there was another story too where they were claiming the prosecution said that they didn't have proper evidence or something. I don't understand why the media always run. Well, I do understand why, but why anybody would believe it when they just take comments from lawyers straight up. It's like we see it all the time with a lot of these immigration cases. Well, his lawyer says that ... Who gives a damn? This is like when the NFL has trade rumors, because the source is the agent, and the agent's trying to get them signed to the most expensive team possible. It doesn't mean a damn thing. Why are we listening to them? So I don't, anything coming out of her trial so far has been on that level of, I need to see more.
All right. So, so we've already covered a lot of this stuff. There was something else that I was going to, there's something we haven't covered yet, and it's kind of in your bailiwick for one of the shows that you do. How about this gambling scandal breaking all over the place?
That's didn't see this coming, huh? It just the NBA is like under complete fire because this is an FBI investigation. I mean, and sweeping and over multiple states and involving players, involving a coach, one guy from the Miami Heat, apparently. I never heard of him myself because it's basketball, but they're actually saying they've got evidence that some games now may have been manipulated on behalf of two mafia crime families and having a bending syndicate. Damn.
Oh, yeah. It's just, I mean, we're talking about mob ties and everything else. You've got people that, and it gets even worse because some of these people were being used as fish to bring whales into poker games and then skin them alive.
Oh, yeah, there's all kinds of crap going on. They had like inside sources on injuries and such so they could do things. And what I had to laugh about, though, was on ESPN, they were covering this, and they had a big, massive panel. I think like 6 guys were sitting at the desk in the morning show discussing this. And right there at the bottom of the screen on the Chiron, hey, join up for ESPN bets. That's, well, I mean, guys, you wanna...
I'll be honest. I am honestly not much of a sports ball person. I will occasionally turn on baseball if I can't find anything else to watch. I watch college football because before NIL happened, it was when everybody really was trying to show you how good they were so they could get drafted to the NFL, but that's even kind of killed it for me. But lately, every time I turn on ESPN or anything else, half their microphones are talking about the betting the betting apps and all these things they've got. They're on the damn micro. I'm like, really? You guys are just blatantly just out there now, huh? And then this happens, and I'm like, I've been trying to tell everybody this was probably a terrible marriage.
Yeah, there was a story a few months ago too. There was another betting news story that came out. I think it was with hockey even. You know, when it was like they found out some illegal betting was going on, but they used a static photo of a player right there on the side of a helmet, advertisement for FanDuel.
Yeah.
But did you, if you want to close it out on a bizarre happy note, did you see the other betting scandal that's been going around with the WNBA?
I did not, but I have a feeling there'll be a twist to this one. So what do we got?
Oh yeah, there's a bit of outrage from the players, not because of illegality, but because of sexism. Wired magazine came up with this. They found out that there are bettors out there who are putting down money on games based on the menstrual cycles of the players.
Oh, holy shit.
So, if they suspect it's somebody's time of the month, then they're going to take the under. Something like that's going on.
Holy crap. Okay. That is probably one of the best ways we get in this, but I do have one more quick hit from Ward Clark that came out last night, and somehow I missed it. I guess the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge is now open for drilling. That's going to piss a lot of hippies off.
Yeah. Yeah. He lives out there in Alaska, so he's got like front lines to that stuff. And he put that up there and it was like, holy crap.
Also want to give a quick shout out to SHR Media. They just put out a piece today talking about exactly how and why California is paying 50% over national average and how Sacramento wants it that way. Also have it on good authority. They just submitted for White House press creds, so I'm going to have to figure out how to get that done for us too. Then I got to find somebody in DC who can go hang out in the pool.
Yeah. See if you can get credentialed to go there. That'd be cool.
All right. So I think that's going to do it for this one. We got a couple minutes left, which is just about enough time to tell folks where they can find you.
Well, I'm applying my trade of tearing into the media over at townhall.com. Got a media column there daily called Rift from the Headlines, also on the front page of Red State on the regular. I got a twice weekly media podcast there called Liable Sources. And I'm also right here at KLRN. Thursday nights, I'm either with Paul Young from Screen Rant with bad movies on disasters in the making, or Ordy Packard with our entertainment show, The Culture Shift. Tuesdays, I do the Cocktail Lounge with Aggie Reekin as we cover cocktails and college football and crazy ass news and all kinds of other happy stuff. And then if you want to follow me on a regular when I'm upsetting journalists pretty much on a weekly basis over at Jitter, I am at Martini Shark.
All right. Also, I want to give a quick shout out because I didn't realize I messed up until last night. So I went and got the Nessie podcast up last night and then realized that somehow I did not do the Chupacabra Macabre one. So there's actually a double shot for you guys up on Spreaker right now. They were posted back to back. So
cool. I'll see if I can get links out this weekend then.
So for anybody who wants to go check those out, you can find them on Spreaker and pretty much anywhere else that you can find podcast. If you are listening on replay, we do encourage you to listen over there because there actually is ad revenue tied to those. We haven't cracked the thresholds to get much ad revenue tied to anything else yet, but we're doing pretty good over there. But that's going to do it for this one. You can find me later tonight with the K-Alarm Radio players doing the Day the Earth Stood Still. Tomorrow night, I will be hanging out with Ordnance J. Packard as we continue Juxtapositions spooky season deep dive into cryptids for Juxtober. Sunday night back with Kingdom and Country. Monday night, which is 10 p.m. Eastern. Monday night, America Off the Rails, 10 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday, everything starts over again with the daily. That's again Tuesday through Friday, starting at 10 a.m. And we now do the weekend news roundup starting at noon on Fridays, which I think next week, now that I have separate branding and stuff up, I think I'm just going to let everything ruminate for about 10, 15 seconds, then just switch gears. So we're probably going to go back to a single feed because that was a lot of wasted time again today until Restream gets its stuff back together. But we're going to get out of here, folks. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We hope you've given everything you need to know to be prepared for your weekend. And for those of you working toward the weekend, you're pretty much there now. Just take off early. Don't tell your bosses I said so, though. Bye, everybody.